Hi, I'm Darcel. I own Dow Coaching and Consulting, where I help lawyers run better law firms. And today we're talking about getting organized. And I want to talk about this because lawyers are some of the most unorganized people that I've met, to be honest with you. I've seen many a lawyer's office, and it's petrifying sometimes seeing how things look behind the scenes. And I'll be the first one to acknowledge, like, I can be messy, I can be cluttered sometimes, but really I try to, make sure I go through and keep things organized, keep files, together, and not have the chaos of just like stacks of paper everywhere all the time. And that can happen sometimes, right? If you're in the middle of trial prep, right? Like, it can get a little crazy but overall, I try to keep things organized and kind of a system to the files. And so, for me, one thing that I do, and I have done this, I think, as long as I've been an attorney. I've been an attorney for 15 years now. One thing that I do is that when I am reviewing documents, so I have to review documents like on paper. Like, I can't review documents on a computer screen. Like, I can kind of skim it and catch some things, but I still miss things if I don't print it out and take my blue pen or a highlighter and mark it up. I miss things. So what I do is when I print and I kill a lot of trees in my office. I know it's awful, I know, but I have to make sure my work product that goes out is good. And if I just review it on my computer, it's not gonna be as good as if I print it out. So I print it out, and then I review it, I mark it up or whatever, and then when I'm done with it, I throw it on the floor. And I just have always had this habit. I don't know where it came from. I don't know where I got this from, but I can't just like stack it somewhere else. Like, no, I need it off my desk. I can't have it in front of me, so I make piles on the floor. I have like a shred pile, and then I'll do a scan pile, and I'll just throw documents on the floor. It's awful, I know. But I will say that when I'm done with the project, I do pick up the piles afterwards. Like, I don't leave them there for like days on end. Like, when I'm done with my review of that case, or if I'm done with that motion or exhibits or whatever, like, I go through and I pick them up off the floor, but I throw them on the floor. And I just it's just a habit of mine. It's just something that works for me. And I think like the physical act of like finishing the document, finishing up my notes and the edits and the revisions, and then getting it off my desk and onto the floor, like, it's just, I don't know, I think it's just something of like mentally, like, just putting it on the floor just really gets it like in my brain that like, okay, I'm done with this. Done. It's on the floor, right? And so it works in the moment. But again, I got to clean up. I can't leave it there. But I've seen some lawyers' offices where it is legit just like stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of papers. And it's not just like, oh, client A, client B, client C, and client D. Like, no, they're all mixed in there. And then they wonder why they can't find things. Okay, they wonder why things get lost, and it's chaos, and it's so stressful. And like, if you've got the cluttered desk and you've got the files all over your chairs, and your filing cabinets aren't organized, and you just got stacks of papers everywhere, and it's just a lot. Like, I know that getting organized may not be your number one priority, because in the moment you're just trying to get the work done, but we really should elevate the priority status of getting organized, because in getting more organized, you're going to be able to produce better work. You're going to be more productive. It's going to help with your stress levels, right? And just, I think it feels better to have a space that is organized. Walking into, because there have been times where my office looks crazy. And when I walk in the morning or whatnot, and my office is just a mess like that just immediately shifts your mindset into just being cluttered. and chaos. Like when you're walking into that versus when I walk into my office and it's organized and everything's in its place, and maybe there's some files, but everything is in the files and it's, hole punched and the way it should be with the tabs and the dividers, like everything's as it should be, and it's not just this, stack of papers just sitting around everywhere. Like it's just like I'm able to go about my day in a more positive manner when I'm not immediately greeted by a chaos of paper and just clutters of documents and files, right? Because how can you really be your most productive self when you're immediately overwhelmed by walking into your own office, right? Like if that's how you're starting your day, if that's how you're setting the tone for your day, you're setting yourself up for a crappy day, right? I mean, versus walking into your office that's clean, that's organized, that has order to it, you know where things are, you need to find a file, you can find it, you know where it is, there's a system to your files. I think it's just, you come into your work from a different place and perspective if you have that in order. And I think this also is like a way to a small way to take better care of yourself is to take better care of your environment and your surroundings. And again, it may not be all the time 24/7 that everything's perfectly in its place. That's not what I'm advocating for, but I am suggesting that you take, that you make a concerted effort to kind of have some order to things, and that, when you're done with things, you throw them away or you shred them. If you don't need hard copies of something, that you actually scan it in and get rid of the hard copy. Documents go into files. And then also not just your physical space in your office, but also your digital space. Like what does your Dropbox look like? What does your computer, what does the drive look like? When you open up your computer screen, is your home screen just a bunch of documents and files on the main computer home screen? Let's get that organized and get that together just so we can approach our work from a place of just having more clarity, having more organization to how we approach our work. And then also just I think, I do a lot of work on attorney well-being. I serve on a number of different committees, and where that's really the focus is helping attorneys well-being. And I think the more we can integrate small pieces like this into our daily schedules and how we do things in our firms and our personal lives. Again, we're not going to get it perfect all the time. We're not looking for perfection. It's not always going to be, organized exactly how you'd want it to be. But if we can make the efforts to kind of take care of things as they come up and put things back where they belong, and again, scan things as you can and shred them as you can, and just kind of keep that flow going, I think it sets you up for more success and just more positivity in your work and in your office, and if you have staff, for them, and how you interact with clients. I think if you can do so from a more clear perspective, it just is going to be that much better for you and then in turn for your client. So if getting organized has been on your to-do list, if your desk is chaos, if your Dropbox or however you save your files is chaos also, if you've got a shred pile or a document destruction pile that just hasn't been dealt with, I would encourage you take 2 or 3 hours and just dedicate to putting things where they belong, getting rid of the clutter, scanning in what you can, and just making your workspace, both physically and digitally, a more appeasing place for you to work. And let's see how that helps you in actually getting your work done. So, all right, hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next one.